Well, welcome back to Crossroads. Easter may only be a few short weeks away, but that means in Marion, again, we're happy to say, the Easter Pageant. And Mr. Easter Pageant, Mike Roorbach, is here to kind of fill us in on the details. And we kind of chuckle because for many years people were saying, where is the pageant? And then last year it came back kind of with a bang, and here we go with year 2. So what's the plan here, Mike?
Well, it's going to be very similar to what it was a year ago in that the pageant from 2003, the last year it was performed live, video of that will be shown on a large screen at the YMCA in the old Coliseum where the Easter pageant always used to be held. And that film is really good quality. It's nice. The music's on there. But we're going to do the music live. Live orchestra, 500-voice choir, we hope. We only have about 375 of those right now, but that's what, and of course the big thing this year is the 75th anniversary of the pageant. It started in 1937 as a community activity, so it's pretty neat.
It really is something. Yeah, I was in choir last night with someone who sang in it in 1945 in my church choir. He goes all the way back that far, and I just looked at him. You don't look that old to me, but it might have been a teenager or something.
Yeah, what was neat last year was a lot of those people came back to sing, but then were joined by a lot of younger people, mainly choir students from colleges and high school choir kids. And so that was really neat to have that blending of the old and then passing it on. It's one thing that the committee that's working on it this year, they want to pass it on to the next generation and get some more interest in having it done, maybe even redoing the pageant live, the whole thing. So.
Wow. So with that kind of a tradition, that kind of a connection to this community, why, I guess, last year and then this year as well, why bring it back? Why is it important?
Well, there's just some people in this community who just didn't want to see it die. And when the Coliseum was redone in 2008 as a YMCA, one of the reasons that people gave money to that project was because they wanted to see the Easter pageant. And there are people in this community to whom the Easter pageant is a big thing. It's a community. It's also a great religious expression of Easter, of a way of celebrating Easter as a community. And it's just unique to Marion. At one time it was broadcast on radio stations, never was televised, I don't think, but just was a big thing. And some people want to relive that and redo it. And of course, I think what really makes it go, the fact that it's the Easter story, the resurrection of Christ, is something that resonates with Christian people everywhere. And it's just a great something that this community does.
We're seeing some video from last year, and I remember when we were there with the show, Mike, just seeing people line up. I talked to some of those people in line, and the buzz was, I wanted to bring my kids back to see this. I'm so glad it's back.
Yeah, and people stand in line outside. It's interesting, when the pageant was done originally, it was always done Easter morning at 6 a.m. and it was dark. People would come at 3 or 4 o'clock to be sure to get in. There weren't tickets. You just had to come. If you got in, you did. And many people will tell you about standing in line on a cold Easter morning for 2 or 3 hours, not to buy a widescreen TV, but to see the story of Easter. And I think that's really neat, that tradition. And even last year when you saw the people in line, pretty neat. Again, we'd like to see some people. That's what I told them. If you want the best seat in the house, come sing in the choir, because you're sure of getting in and you're sure of having a great seat.
So kind of going off of that, you mentioned you're doing 500 people singing in the choir. So you need people to sing. How else can people get involved?
Well, we need people to help clean up afterwards and parking cars. Okay. They're going to be parking all over downtown Marion and running Marion City buses to and from the Coliseum. All the parking at the YMCA will be for handicap parking. But if you otherwise, you park downtown and walk across the bridge or bring a city bus. And so we need people helping park cars in those places. One other thing they want to do this year, being the 75th anniversary, after the pageant, they want to have a group picture of anyone who's ever been in any Easter pageant. And to stay afterwards and to take that picture of people. So that's another good reason for folks to come if you haven't been for a long time.
Won't that be fun? Well, let's go through it just really quickly again. Parking and cleanup, big deal. So if you want information on that, you can go to the YMCA. You can give them a call if you'd like to volunteer for that. We'll put that number up on the screen, 664-0544. If you want information on rehearsals, that's every Monday night on the Indiana Wesleyan campus, I believe 7:30.
6:30 at the Philippi Performing Arts Center.
Just show up. You don't have to call anyone, but call that number at the Y if you want to volunteer for any of the other activities. families, and tickets are now available. They're free, but we need you to take just a limited number that you're really going to use.
Take what you're going to use. Yeah, limit is 6. You can't take more than 6 because, but you know, if a lot of people from your church want to go, have them all go get their own or get 6, and that would work. You know, we are going to do some live stuff there too. We're going to have more soldiers this year, 25, and we're going to have Jerusalem Maidens will be doing the dance that they do in the video right live in front of it. So that's going to be interesting how all that coordinates.
All right, it'll be exciting. Thanks, Mike Roorbach, Mr. Easter Pageant, one more time.
Well, just let me say one thing. I don't do the Easter pageant. I'm just a spokesman. You know, the whole idea of the Easter pageant, total anonymity, nobody gets paid, and so I'm just agreed to do that as
That's
part
what
of
I
it.
meant.
I don't do any work for it.
Head cheerleader.